Hey Hoopers, this is Georgia from Circle Evolution. This is my third video in a series of 3 dealing with issues that Hoopers have, blockages that they have from moving to the next level in their hooping life, in their career, in their artistry, all that good stuff. The first 2 videos I was kind of dealing with internal states, which is the first one was about how to stand out as an artist, as a hooper, and I talked about the importance of making an emotional connection or being in contact and in a non-resistant state to your own emotional energy so that can actually express through you. And then I talked about injury and threshold resistance, which is also kind of something that's going on in the body-mind, and how resisting the opening up of the body and the opening up of the hooping life is a response to not being able to process emotional energy. In the third video today, I'm going to talk about something that actually appears to manifest more in the quantum reality, in the external experience, and that is issues around money, not having enough money to do the things that you want to do, taking classes, going to workshops, even replacing hoops when hoops are broken. I see that a lot on the forum. People are really devastated when they've broken or lost a hoop and not having the money to replace it. And all of these things that are connected to our prosperity consciousness. But to me, the source is the same, and a lot of this is connected to the primitive mind functioning I've been talking about throughout these videos, and the contracted state of the primitive mind. So let me just put a little bit of context here. When we activate the primitive mind, we basically feel like we're in a life-threatening situation, and our whole functioning contracts down to the most limited state of experience. So all our thinking, the chemicals in our body, everything is contracted down to how do I survive? How do I survive? How do I survive? And often when we have money issues, we're in that contracted state. We're in that like, oh my God, I can't pay the rent, I'm going to die. That's what our primitive mind is basically saying. If I don't have money, I'm going to die, because we associate money with survival. So if I don't have money, I'm going to die. If I've broken my hoop, I'm going to die. The primitive mind is very dramatic, okay? So when we are in that contracted survival state, what it means is we're not in our most open, expansive state, where the stream of inspiration and possibility and risk-taking and chance-taking can kick in. When we're contracted like this, it's like, oh my God, you're just obsessing on something, and it really controls our thinking, and it doesn't allow for the expanded possibility of greater things happening to come in and kind of resolve some of those money issues. So when we use the hoop, we begin to, as I've talked about before, stimulate the body mind. It starts to open up. We start to have the primitive emotions emerge, and at the same time that civilized mind is going, oh no, we can't have this stuff coming up. And so it starts trying to contract the experience again. Oh, I don't have the money to go to that festival or take that class. Really what's going on is the body mind saying is, we're not going to attract that money because we're not going to open up to this experience anymore. And it isn't just about, hey, the body mind hates hooping. This has got a lot to do with our fundamental upbringing and the kind of programming we receive from our parents, because our nervous system is programmed up to the age of 7, when our survival is absolutely connected to what is going on with our parents. And we tend to see what we knew at that time as being known and therefore good, and anything beyond that is unknown. So we may be unconsciously wired to only ever earn a certain amount of money, or to struggle the way we have seen our parents struggle, or have beliefs that are anti-money or anti-prosperity because that's what was passed down to us. And because our survival instinct is to mimic or stay the same as the tribe, we don't want to break out of that. And when we do start breaking out of it, those strong emotions start coming up because we're breaking that programming. And if you don't know what to do with those emotions, then again, you're going to kind of lock down and contract back into the primitive state and not take risks, not take chances, not think expansively, really buy into the fact that you can't do certain things because you don't have the money. To me, that is one of the biggest illusions that we sit behind because it feels safe and not because it is true. Because when you start dissolving that illusion, you will be amazed at what lies on the other side, what kind of possibilities, what kind of opportunities, what kind of forms of what I call soul level manifestation can begin to happen when you stop believing the illusion of poverty or financial restriction. And the belief structures that we have about money, and a lot of these are really connected to core feelings of self-worth and self-value, and strong primitive emotional energy that sits beneath that is what maintains that veil of illusion. So one of the simplest things you can do to start changing your programming, and I'm really going to use the hoop this time in this video, is to literally hoop it out. Because when we are hooping, we are actually tapping a lot of the meridian points in our bodies that maintain the programming of the nervous system and maintain the way the nervous system and the body-mind is locking emotion in the body. So you can actually process through belief structures and emotions while you're hooping, including memories that you may have that are traumatic. So one of the first things you can do is just sort of start with looking at a belief structure you have about money. So, for example, it could be like, I can't afford to do that class. Rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most believable, and then just start hooping on that belief. So you can just hoop and sort of say, I don't believe I can do this class, I don't have enough money to do it. And if you say it out loud, it's going to help stimulate where this belief structure is locked in your body-mind. I'll never make enough money if I pursue this hooping stuff. I'm going to really mess up my life. You want to open up and see what actual unconscious beliefs you have that are underneath the simple tip of the iceberg belief, which is like, I can't afford the class. Maybe what's underneath that is, I'm really afraid if I go for this hooping thing, I'm going to humiliate and embarrass myself and fail and be rejected by my family and my tribe and the whole wide world. That's often what is actually underneath. So you're just going to hoop it out for a while, stop and take a nice deep breath, and then assess again the strength of that belief. And you might have noticed that it's gone down considerably and that maybe something else is coming up, like a memory of when, you know, your dad and your mum said you couldn't have the toy that you wanted. And then you can just hoop on that and be like, okay, I have this memory about this story where there wasn't enough and I couldn't have what I wanted. And you just keep, you know, talking and hooping it out. And this way you can start bringing in a conscious practice into your hooping that will begin to completely rewire your body mind. And we all know when you get that hooper's high, that's often this sort of result of having let go of some kind of contracted or resistant state that's going on internally. Then you get into your flow and you're all like, woohoo! Totally free. That's the psychological freedom of the body-mind. I've made a whole video which talks about a specific technique called EFT. If you go to my Circle Evolution YouTube page, you can watch that one, and I go into even more depth how you can use hooping with a very specific technique to reprogram the body-mind. I hope you found these 3 videos helpful. Please visit my website, circleevolution.com, and let me know what you would like to